Welcome to PK Woodworking, and this is episode 13 in my shop series, and this will probably also be a really long episode around dust collection. So I'm starting this today. This is overwhelming, the amount of things that are involved in this Norfab or snap ring kind of dust collection pipe is really kind of crazy. So I'm going to stand back, do a couple of pans and show you a few things so you can hopefully kind of understand where I'm at here right now. So if you look over here, those pipes right there are sleeves that are adjustable that go around the regular tubing that allow you to adjust how long you want to, so you're not stuck with 5 feet on every single tube. And then as I pan over to that side over there, there's a myriad of Ys and bends and you name it over there, including the connections that go to the blast gates. And then if you look at right here, there's all the blast gates. I believe I'm short a blast gate, which is typical for me, but I've got, I think, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm supposed to have 13 blast gates. I think I only somehow ended up with 12, so I'm gonna have to do that also. Let me spin around here and show you all of the pipe. So that's all the pipe. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 17, 18, 19, 20, 24 pieces of pipe over there too. So anyways, it's gonna be some time to get this all set up and working. But first thing I have to do is I gotta install all of these grit system automated blast or automation parts to the blast gates. And they also came with this new arm that keeps them really aligned when they're coming in and out. So that's what I'm going to get on. This is probably going to be one of those things where I fast forward the video and then I might talk over it or something while it's going on because it's going to be a while. So yeah, let's get this going. Hello, hello, hello still. It's much better. So I didn't think there was a good reason for me to play this in real time for you because literally this does take a long time. We're talking about probably a couple of minutes per 5 minutes or so per gate. So this took a couple of hours to get accomplished. So I just assumed it would be better for us to talk about this way. So for each one of the gates, you basically have to take apart the gate slightly to flip the slide of the gate around to reverse it. That's what they ask you to do in the grit system. And then you mount that particular actuator onto the actual new gate or the gate you have. And you also attach that rod that keeps it centered as the arm moves in and out. And then there's a drilling procedure. You have to drill a couple of holes through the center of that flap, and then after you're done with that flap, then you connect everything together and you do a little bit of adjustment to make sure that the sliding back and forth of it is really smooth and that you don't have any kind of stickiness in the mechanism as you go back and forth. So as you can tell by my switch of my shirt, I'm now on day 2 of this. And I did want to call out the kit that they give you. So the kit is pretty comprehensive. So you get not only the drill bits that you need, you also get the tools that you need to actually put this all together. The only tools you don't get are a screwdriver and a nut driver for the gate that you'd have, because they don't know what gate you'll have. But they have everything included in the kit. If you order something from Grit, it also, if you order enough, I guess, from Grit, they'll send you an extra parts bag, quote unquote, to make sure that if something does go awry, you've got an extra part or two along the way. But I really had nothing go awry in all the gates that I installed. And every one of the gates actually moves really, really cleanly, and have no issues with binding at all, which was a concern. I just didn't know exactly how those actuator sliders would work back and forth, but they work fantastic. And I also have to say that going from my older Blastgates that I had to these Blastgates that are from Norfab, and some of them from the Blastgate company, I actually have to say that, as other people have mentioned on some forums out there, I actually like the Blastgates better that come from Blastgate company than the ones that I got from Norfab. I don't know if they're because the Norfab ones are older than the ones that I got from Blastgate company, but regardless, it's just the way that they're built and put together seems a little bit better. I think I have 4 gates from Norfab, and the rest of the gates are all from the Blastgate company. So regardless, we're almost done with putting these together, and then we can continue to go forward with the rest of the video. Day 2. Not sure how these are all going to work, but I guess we'll see. Yo, yo. Yeah, this is the first time I'm doing this, so I have literally no idea how this is going to go. But let's see. Okay. It's kind of a problem. The way originally this was planned, I didn't have the Felder. I had planned it with the Oneida. So where the ducting is going to go at this point may be challenging. I don't know. We'll have to see how this all works out. I moved the planer, joiner planer, out of the way because the main trunk's going to go straight down here. So I'm gonna install the hangers from the ceiling for this little Gripple system. So it's not a ton of weight to hold, so each one of these should easily, but I'm gonna put one in every single rafter and line it up. So it's gonna take a second. I'm using something called the Gripple system, and they are little clamps that go on pre-cut cables, like so. And it's probably way too overkill than I needed, but you know, typical. So they have, let me get these all undone here. Maybe these go first. Okay, so anyway, they're pre-cut to a certain length. I think I picked 5 feet because I knew I was going to have them right at the ceiling. So there wasn't a good reason for them to be anything but 5 feet. So they come terminated at the end with a hook, and then they hang down, and then you take this Gripple piece and this goes in it, and I think somehow you loop it together, but I'll figure that out later. So let's get the first one hung up there. One down. That's loud. again, I am quite sure putting one every 2 feet is overkill, but you know, hopefully this way with these hooks, I don't need a second pair of hands. At least that's what everybody says when they use this system. And I think I bought enough that should be fine, so we'll see. Okay, I don't know how well this is going to show up on video because it's such a thin cable, but this is how easy it is. You just push this Gripple-like connector up to, try to get them to decently the same size, and then you just create a loop, and that loop you'd slide the pipe into. It suspends the pipe, whatever height, length you want it to be, and then when you're done, you just pull it up to the ceiling. So I'm going to slide a pipe in there and see what it looks like. So really this is me just finally getting the hang or understanding of how to even clamp this pipe together and move across this wall. Honestly, at the end of this all, when you're done, you're probably going to say to yourself, I think it may have been easier for you to start with the pipe closer to the ceiling. And I think even though it would have been more challenging to get the pipe maybe up there individually, you'll see at the last section of pipe that I finally do that I did it with the pipe all the way at the top. And I don't think it was any more difficult to get the pipe up there. And it was definitely easier to not have to wrestle, 40 feet of pipe one by one farther up into the ceiling. So you'll see that, but I'll come back to you in a second and talk to you a little bit about the Gripple. Day 3. Again here, this was one of those kind of moments where you're like, So again, the original setup we had wouldn't have interfered with the fan, wouldn't have interfered with the air cleaner at the top either. So right now I'm just trying to understand how it's going to go across the ceiling and where I'm going to put those hangers at, the Gripple hangers across the ceiling. Again, it was super straightforward. Just one of those bummers where now, you got to take down the fan, you got to go get a longer down rod, etc. So it just was one of those parts of the project where you wish you would have known ahead of time, but who would have known that I would have been able to get that Felder RL200. And again, I'm super happy with it, so it's worth the drama that ensues right now, but it definitely turned probably a 1.5 day project into a 3-day project. So you'll see it as we go forward. Time to get cutting. See how this goes. Got to cut this down to 44. I've already put the nipple up there. It needs to be 48. It says to go 4 inches less. So this one I already had from the people that I bought the dust collector from already cut, so why ruin one of the ends I did? So I bought this thing at a, I think AWFS last year. It's a thing that's supposed to cut sheet metal. I'm gonna give it a shot. Let me go get it. How this works, I don't remember, but we'll see. Because if this works, this could be really, really fast. Okay. Yep. I'm sure that something might be faster, but I don't think it'd be easier. And it's smooth, which is a bit shocking, but I do need to take this down. Well, that was easier than I thought it was going to be. Let's clean up though, because that is going to make a mess. All right, now I got to find the O-ring, which I think you roll over this one. I didn't call out what that tool was I was using, but it's from Bad Dog Tools, and it's called the Biter, and it has two heads on it. One is short, one is longer, and you can rotate it as you're using it on a regular, any basic drill, and it cuts the sheet metal up to, I think, 16 gauge really easily, and it makes these little small crescent-shaped pieces of metal, and it really is easy and works great. I think we may have found a better way. So we're going to use this helping hand to get this going here. Those are actually from Fast Cap, and they're called third hands, I believe. And I think they've iterated a few times since I bought them. But they're great for putting up like cabinets and things like that. And then I just figured they'd work for this too, and they did. New day. I didn't want to bore you with some of the other stuff that was going on. Man, is it echo in here. I need to get that rubber in. As you can see up there, I've moved the pipe as close to the ceiling as I really think I'm going to be able to get it with those Gripple hangers, and I'm happy with it. So I've started to install some of the drops and some of the Blastgates. You're going to see on this side over here, as you're going to see over here on this side, I have not put the rest of the runs in. I will hopefully get to that today. We'll see. It's kind of late in the day, but we'll see how far I get. But let's put a couple of these blast gates in and kind of see what that looks like. Design change number 1. So that drop right there was supposed to be up against the wall, and then the plastic hose was supposed to come off that and get to the sander. I don't think they figured that out correctly, because if that would have been the case, the actual flex hose would have gone down and back up on top. I don't want to do that. So what I did is I rotated that Y so that the 5-inch comes off. Now the 5-inch isn't supposed to be that far from the wall. I'll have to do a return, etc. But now it makes for a really short run of flex hose from the sander to the ducting, which is better. So design change, hopefully that's better. Okay, you got to decide which way you want the gate to be, like right side up or down or whatever. I think I'm going to choose to have the gates the whole time with the arm on the top, which means I'm going to have to attach this like this up there. So I figure I install this part down here first. Maybe that might make things easier up there. Maybe it won't. We'll see. But this is how easy it is. You just get the lock over it, or the snap, I should say, over it. And then you put in the tubing. And then I'm going to rotate it probably to where I think it's going to be like that. So yeah, I think like that. So then you just clamp it, put the pin in, done. Then I'll do the same thing up there. Hopefully this is a halfway decent angle. Bring my thing up here on the ladder, pull the pin, kind of stretch this out, get this up here so it stays, kind of, I hope, maybe not. There we go. Then I gotta decide, yeah, I guess that's about right. Although it would have been easier if I would have had it all the way over here, so let's do it over here. You kind of have to have leverage when you're one-handing the clip. So you got to make sure you have it in the raised space where you can get leverage. And I missed. And then you just kind of loosen it, give it a twist to get it perpendicular. There you go. Now I think I'm actually going to put another nipple on that side of that. It did call for a whole length of pipe, but I'm going to have this flex hose hanging out here in the middle, so I'm just going to put a nipple up there. Back at the table here, you have to have one of these on the bottom. This is where the flex hose goes over, and it's built at the right OD, or ID, I guess OD for the ID, for the hose to go over and clamp on it without crushing it. So, again, do it down on the ground instead in the air. Ah! That hurts. And And as you get more down, more pieces down, it's easier to see if you're, if you have it perpendicular or not, which I don't. So let's move it a little more. That looks better. Okay. Okay. So that may be a little bit low. Yeah, we'll see. I haven't decided on that yet. Maybe a bit low. Okay. We'll see on that one. All right, next. After some further thought, I really need to get that side over there done. So I need to move some stuff and get it all out of the way so I can do that. So hold please. Now the beauty of this stuff is design change, because I have the stuff from Oneida here originally that designed this for me. And when we designed it, you can see maybe that there was a smaller dust collector. And so by having this dust collector, it pushed the tubing farther out into the shop, at least the part that was going to go across the shop to the other side, which is now going to change and limit what I need for this side over here. So I'm going to try to understand that. First thing, I'm going to turn that one part sideways so it's kind of level, and then figure out what I need to go from there to get to the wall, etc. So this is just a pin again. Loosen a little bit. Now it is jammed up against the wall, so there's that. That's good. And then this piece that comes off, I don't know if it's level yet. I will see soon if it is. And we'll see what parts we need to get there. Now this tells me that I should need a section of pipe and adjustable nipple, but I honestly think because of how much less, I might just be able to use nipples. So let me pause and put it all on the ground. Okay, we are going to use an adjustable nipple over there after all. So we got our little O-ring that goes in. Roll the O-ring down. Then you put the clamp in over that O-ring. Then you put the nipple, adjustable nipple over it, and then you kind of figure out the length you want and go for broke. So let's hope I got this right. And we're in. Yeah, so let's go back over here so you can see how this goes. But I think it's supposed to go the other direction. So we're going to reverse this. Because the dust is going in that direction. So you wouldn't want to put it so the dust is going against the piece of pipe. You want to do it the other direction. So I want to take the nipple off. And instead, I want this on this. like that. And then I want this on here like that. And that way the dust goes against the direction, or with the direction, I should say. Anyway, you get it, I'm sure. Now I'm just taking a random distance for that. Could be wrong, could be right. We'll see. Oh, looks pretty damn close. Oh, but we got it. We got the O-ring outside of where we should have. So let's go in a little farther. Just a little farther. There we go. Try that. Figures. Okay. That seems to be rotating down. So I'm gonna have to manipulate these two to kind of push it back up. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, yeah. No need for a adjustable there. I mean, because of how short it is, it's gonna come right down that break in the plywood. Perfect. So now let's head down to the other end. So as I finish this part of the wall up and get these drops done, the part where I get to at the shaper is where I lost some footage. So I tried, because of what was going on with that camera, to use my new DJI camera, and I'm getting used to it, but it's not as good as it could be. Some of the banding you'll see in it, I think, is solved now by just putting the camera up higher and on a tripod versus setting it on something. So things you learn, but in general, I think that not only did the Norfab / Blastgate company install stuff go are smoother than I anticipated. Yes, it did take probably more time than I thought it would take. It really worked out great and so much simpler to do than my previous installs I've done with metal pipe and tape, etc. It's just not as good as how this works out. This is so much more professional. Okay, we're gonna try my new toy, see if this works. So let's see. Need another 6-inch gate here. I mean a 6-inch bracket here. My hundreds of these suckers that I don't need. All right. See how this goes. Whoop. Nope. A little more proactive there, PK. Well, I think that might work. All right, you got a Blastgate will go there, and yeah. Okay, kind of works. So now I got to figure out what's left to do and how much extra stuff I have that I don't need. So definitely irritating. Okay. Let's see how this works out. Seems good. Seems good. So, I think it'll work all fine. I think I can definitely pull this a little closer to the wall, knowing that, you know, this is the dust collection for this, even though it's supposed to be a 6-inch. It's a giant port over there. As a matter of fact, it's probably bigger than that. I think it's, it's like 5.5. Okay, so that's not terrible. A little bit of a adjustment. Right, time to make some measurements. I wanted to land the plane because this is a very, very long video. But unfortunately we had some camera issues, and at the time I was also, because of the camera issue I'm talking to you on now, I started to use my Osmo camera, and I really didn't know what I was doing with it yet. Figured it out better. I think the next videos will be definitely better. But there were some gaps in whatever was going on with the dust collection, so I want to kind of finish it. Now, I just want to say I've done a ton more in the shop since then, so some things you're going to see in here are not going to connect with what you might have seen before. But I do want to do a little pan around the actual shop to show you kind of where we are and what got finished. So let me kind of pause this and move around, and I won't be in front of the camera for the rest of some of this at least. So this is the drop for the shaper that we had. And it includes also a drop that will go to the bench that is right here that has a router in it. So that's all connected and ready to go. And then if you'll see as I pan around, we've got the drops set up now for the sander. You'll also notice I have some of the rubber back into the shop temporarily, but it's not completely done. I've ordered some more to cover most of the floor. So I do want to give you like an idea of how the floor sweep works. So the floor sweep is here, and if I hit the button right here, it's going to turn the Blastgate open up and turn on the dust collection. And then quite a bit of suction. I've got that programmed for a 10-second delay from after I turn the switch off before the actual dust collector turns off. So let me give you some more looks at the shop here. So there's the port and the setup for the Law Invincible. So Law Invincible's on. I've moved it about as close as possible to nest this in so it works great. But let me just hit the power button so you can see what happens with everything else that goes on with it. So here we go. And again, a 10-second delay from after they turn off. And you can see the dust collection is pretty crazy. And it's got star delta start on the dust collection. So when it first comes on, it kind of doesn't seem like it sucks that much. And then as soon as the three-phase fully comes on, it's definitely collecting pretty well. And then you can tell it's connected to the table saw. It's connected to every single machine I have, so it doesn't matter what it is. If I walk over here and use the pocket screw machine, let me show you. It'll also be connected, so hold on. I'm gonna just ruin a piece of cherry because I can. So, turn the machine on. And then this sander right here has a cool feature that it not only works like a traditional sander on the front side, on the edge, also has a spindle attachment that I've got for it. But it also on the back side here works like a jointer. So if you want to shave off, you know, a problem on one of your edges, you can do that too. This also will turn on the dust collection just by powering it on. I may have that one programmed for just 5 seconds. I can change the programming on it. I have a couple of more machines here. So I've got the boring machine, and that one is set up through a trigger that's on the wall. So you just plug it into the trigger, and that's how that one functions. And then the bandsaw works the same way. And I have the connectors to actually connect to the dovetail machine. So anyways, all the machines work now with the dust collection. One thing still to get solved, and that's the air scrubbers, which I want to talk about grit automation to begin with. So after I got this finished, I made a couple of calls to Grit, and he immediately, Joel, got immediately connected with me for probably a good 45 minutes via a video chat, and we walked through how to hook up the thing to my dust collector, to also the trigger to the dust collector, and then also all of the software updates that he wanted to push to me to make sure that this would all work correctly, which is why I'm saying this, because the last software update is for the actual the air quality monitor that will turn on my 2 air filters. And they have these are RF remote controlled, these Powermatics, and the system actually has a receiver for that RF built in, or a transmitter I should say, for that RF built into it. So just waiting a week or so, he said, until that software's finished to push it to me. So anyways, incredibly happy with the dust collection, and incredibly happy with how it hangs from the ceiling, how it works. You'll also see now, I had some missing footage, but I had to remove that fan right there from the actual ceiling and put a longer down rod on it. And now it works perfectly. That one's a little lower than the other one, but works great, and they turn on in unison with the remote control. So I just wanted to say thanks for getting through this incredibly long video, and I appreciate all of you that tune in and watch. We're getting close to that 1,000 subscriber range, which would be awesome to get there. Not knowing what I'm gonna do with that, but it would be awesome to get there anyways. I just want to say thanks for watching.